Hey folks, Brian again. Got some stuff in my throat, sorry. Mountain Dew Ice Lemon. Not too bad. I still prefer the original. Okay, when we left off last session, the party had just entered into the red sandstone open courtyard in front of the temple. When we started playing, they all stopped because they realized how badly hurt people really were and they lost complete momentum. So they all pulled back, discussed what they're going to do, and decided they need to flush out, make sure there's nobody left in the temple before they go down and try and find, more stuff. Excuse me. The temple is pretty much emptied out. There are 4 guys in the kitchen. They don't know that yet. And then there's the lich that nobody knows about either. But they go through the temple, or the monastery rather, and they are checking things to go along. And I had about half this mapped out. If you check out my other videos, I'll talk about that. About half of it mapped out. There's stuff they'd already been through. It was all mapped out beforehand. And then we come to a part where I haven't mapped. We got through the doors and now we're in open space. So I should start mapping. But at the table, I've got this large dining room table. My players are some pretty big guys, and I didn't have room to keep sneaking between them and trying to draw between stuff and stuff. So we just went theater of the mind. I'm describing stuff to go through. And I have to apologize for folks who are going to watch my GM musings. Yeah, GM musings video, because when I got to theater of mind, I completely forgot about which video I was running. So I started running this one. So it'll be from repeat here now. Maybe fast forward 3 minutes. So we're going theater of the mind and, talking the hallway, doorways. They go in, they check out rooms. They find a chest with some money and scrolls and stuff. I find another room with a stove. And this is where the warlock realizes, hey, this is where the Drugar were. She knows where she is now, kind of orienting on stuff. They search through, they don't find anything. They go north into the chow hall. Nothing there. And so they go into the kitchen. When they go to the kitchen, they send Aloysius Invisible to go and open the door and check underneath, right? Well, there are 4 monks, Sacred Stone Monastery monks in here. And I made some perception rolls. One of them made it notice the door's opening up because they're in there baking bread, making preserves, just keeping busy, plus, making food for everybody. So he goes to go check out what's happening, and the paladin grabs him, pulls him back. Stay silent or you're dead. And whatever, because there's all these huge guys out there. But when that happens, the other monks who was going on, so they are fanatical to extent, right? So they attack. The warlock steps up and does burning hands. Only one guy survived, or one guy made his save. So there's 3 of them there. One guy made a save. One guy actually died from the burning hands. And the other guy got burned pretty bad. But they're still monks. They're still kind of fanatical. They attack the warlock. One of them hits her. She does Hellish Rebuke on him. He dies. So we got one that's badly burned and one who's a prisoner. The prisoner, the one that got badly burned at that point is kind of just standing back, and him comes up, surrender kind of thing, and he does. And so they start interrogating these guys. Who are they? Where are they from? Why are they here? What do they know about the temple? What's down in the mines? All that kind of stuff, right? And there's obviously no background, so I'm living all of this. I come up with a couple names, went too hard. I should actually probably, like most people, have a list of names available to take care of stuff like that. But anyway, and they used to be, just farmhands, and they got recruited to come to the Sacred Stone Monastery, and they're here. And right now, they're the cooks. They cook at night, and during the day when they're not sleeping, they're training. They do know about the Great Prophet, because the Great Prophet's going to give them the teachings and stuff. There's a priest and there's the abbess, that kind of stuff. So things the players already know about. They don't really have a whole lot of information. I made a roll to see, how long we've been there. One for almost a year, another just a few months, that kind of thing. And the party then decides, okay, if we let you go, we just go back home. I said, yeah, we'll go back home. And so they, well, the one who was captured goes inside the kitchen with the other one and bandages up all his burns and stuff, and then they limp out the front door. They're getting out of town. This is not worth it. Okay. So they continue to explore, and next to the kitchen and the chow hall is the main temple of the monastery, right? So they go in. They notice there's a handle in the far corner, bright brass handle, right? And there's these 4 pillars that are in the middle, supporting this huge ceiling, right? And then they start asking questions without. I would look. As far as I'm concerned, they're all standing at the doorway looking around. And they start asking about this and that. Well, okay, you guys move out, go explore, make some rolls, that kind of thing. And they go and they look at the altar, and they make some religion. The paladin actually makes a religion roll to decipher that this thing has been. Well, they can all tell it's all been carved up. Somebody's been there chopping, trying to take all the religious markings off of it. But the paladin's able to tell that this is from Moradin, the dwarvish god of creation, I think it is, has been defiled. And that's if there's any other marks on there, and there aren't, according to the book. There should have been. They should have, put their Sacred Stone Monastery mark in there, right? The triangle thing. Carve that baby in right in the deep in the front and the top or something, And if they start doing human sacrifices on this thing, there should be like, blood troughs, that kind of thing. But they haven't. So they're wandering around, looking around, don't really see much. The warlock is positive that handle on the wall is trapped. So he sends Aloysius to go and pull it. I go, what's Aloysius' strength? 6? How big is he? Just mess with him. Aloysius pulls the handle down, and they have this huge grating of stone. And a couple guys make some perception rolls, and they notice a puff up of dust out of the stairwell, because there's a stairwell that goes down into the dark in the center of the temple. Nobody bothers to check anything out. They just go around, go to the other side of the door on the other side. It opens up into the garden area, right? And this is all open area. It's got 2 open walls, and you got monastery and the 2 walls, right? And there's a number of doors here. There's a door they're at coming out of the temple. There's a door on the south wall, which actually goes back to where the abbess's chambers and the brewery and all that stuff is. And there's 2 doors on the side. One's actually a gate. They call it a gate, but they don't really describe it, right? So it's not like, is this, a wooden gate, or is it a steel bar gate you can look through? Stone gate. What does a stone gate look like? I don't know. The door. And then there's another one on the far side that goes into the monastery as well. And so I'm waiting, and they're just kind of just not doing much. And then the bear decides he's going to go look around. So he goes around, sniffing around, looking in the weeds and stuff. Now there are like 7 statues, excuse me, in the garden, 2 of which are gargoyles. All the rest look awfully human-like. Well, if I'm in a garden looking at statues, and 5 of them are awfully human-like, and 2 of them are gargoyles, 2 of them are going to be gargoyles, right? Well, I put some more gargoyles out there, because the 4 that are in front of the temple in the red sandstone open doorway walkway, there's 4 statues there. 2 of them are gargoyles. So all 4 of them look like gargoyles. Let's say about half of these look like gargoyles. The other are humans of different types, shapes, and sizes. And so the bear's out there, snooping around. Gargoyles attack. Nobody else has said anything about doing anything. So they're all standing at the doorway. It's another thing I've got to get with my players on. And if you don't say you're doing something, you are not doing anything. If we all come to the doorway and I say the doorway opens and there's the garden, and the bear goes out, everybody's just standing in the doorway. I got to screw that with them. Anyway, 2 gargoyles attack the bear. And they're whacking and whacking. The gargoyles get 2 attacks around, right? So they're whacking and whacking and whacking on the bear. I think the warlock does send Aloysius out. I don't remember him stinging anybody, though. She did do an Eldritch Blast at one of them. The rogue did start shooting, and the barbarian, I think a paladin too, did eventually move out to engage the gargoyles, right? Okay, so they're all attacking this one gargoyle, gargoyle number 3, I have them numbered. Gargoyle number 3, because he was the one who's been hitting the bear the most, or hit the bear first, or something like that. So the bear's attacking back, and everybody's attacking gargoyle 3, and gargoyles resist all kinds of damage and all that kind of stuff, and so they're whacking the gargoyles on the bear. And eventually the gargoyle gets down to half hit points. So at that point, I was like, okay, he's going to take off. It's around his turn, and he takes off. He's booting it out of there. He's doing a dash, right? 60 flying, 120 feet flying, right? He's out of the way. And since he is resisting all kind of damage, he's not worried about disengaging. So everybody gets an opportunity to attack as he takes off. No problem. I think 1 or 2 will hit maybe. But he didn't have hit points, he didn't worry. So he flew. And the warlock starts talking about, said now Aloysius has a speed of 40. Even if he was right there with the gargoyle, he'd be 40 feet behind him. He can't do anything. Warlock didn't really like that. I don't know if it's just the player, the way he does controlling things, or if he expects to be able to do more or be more powerful than he is. I'm not sure. Something I'm trying to feel out, because I noticed a couple of things happened in this session that got me not concerned, but at least open my eyes, be more aware of, and that was one of them. Aloysius can only do so much. Sorry. Okay. So they go back. So everybody starts fighting gargoyle number 1. I should say 3 first. 3 later on. It was gargoyle 2, first one. During this combat, the bear finally gets knocked down to 0 hit points. Actually, -1. So 1 point came off the druid. So druid pops back at being druid with 1 hit point of damage. Take a bonus action, change back to a bear. And the gargoyles tearing at him. Eventually, that gargoyle gets down to half. He decides, okay, time for me to split 2. But by the time he gets around to his turn again, they end up killing him. They were able to do enough damage before his turn to take him out. Okay, so killed one gargoyle got away. I still give him experience for both. That's not an issue with me. Okay, so they start checking these doors. They find these doors, the ones upstairs to go up to the brewery and the abbess's chambers. Okay, good to go. They find the far one is locked. Send Aloysius underneath. He can't get very far. He goes underneath. You can see it's because he's got devil vision, and it's dark in there. He's on a platform, stares down on one side, stares up on the other. But nothing they can do. And the barbarian decides to do, I'm going to try to bust that door down. And I talk about this in both of my other videos about this whole DC and arcane lock spell and that kind of stuff. At the time, I just did the +10, which is what it is, baseline. He makes a try to swack and it got in close. So they start at that point. They start talking about burning it down. How would arcane lock work with that? I'm not sure. Would it really catch on fire? Would it burn down? If it burned down, would the portal still be blocked? It's impassable. No, but they don't, thank goodness. So at this point, they decide to go for a long rest. And they're going to do a long rest in the kitchen. So they go out of the garden, back through the temple, and into the kitchen. Well, as they're going through the temple, a couple of the PCs make rolls to notice that they heard noises coming from down the stairwell, right? Let me bother to look and see if it actually what had happened, because that stone raking that happened earlier was the stairs changing to a ramp. And there's other stuff going on. So as they go by, they hear noises down there. They send Aloysius down there. There's huge beast down there, kind of insect looking, maybe like an ant, but huge, not just a giant ant size, a huge thing. And she's wandering around. A little description of the room. Although I need to double check on Devil Sight to see if it actually gives, because dark vision is like black and white. Very little texture, but you can see sort of things, right? What does Devil Sight do? Because I told about colors and all kind of stuff down there. Probably didn't get to see that, but maybe I'll check that out. Anyway, so there's a huge beast. It's actually an Umber Hulk, but I was not going to tell them it was an Umber Hulk. They kept asking, what does it look like? And I just gave description kind of stuff. Because none of these PCs have run to a number hulk. All of these players have. Well, not all of them. Two, maybe three of the players have. And I don't want to keep that suspense, right? I don't want to get it all away. So anyway, Aloysius comes back up. They take some of the bodies. The two that died, the two that died got burned up, and they throw them down there, and the thing is attacking them. And they go and they do a long rest in the kitchen. 6 hours in a long rest. We divide up. They got 2 elves, so 4 hours watching, 4 hours trancing, 4 hours trancing, 4 hours watching. So they got an elf up for the 8 hours. Aloysius doesn't need sleep, so he's always up. I should probably take over him more. We had kind of joked about him, putting a pot of water on the stove and taking a bath and that kind of stuff. And maybe he wants to go check some other stuff out. I don't know. But I lit the warlock around him. So Aloysius is up there, and then there's 5 of us, so an hour and a half each. Puts us like 9-10 hours, 9.5 hours, 9.5 hours, something like that. So that way everybody gets a full long rest, and they've got a watch up with an elf, a PC, and Aloysius, who are always up, right? Okay, so we're going through the watches. Who's first watch? Who's second watch? Who's third watch? And we get through it because I'm trying to track down. Because at hour 6 is when the Drugar show up. Because the Drugar, there's 3 of them in the base. I bumped up to 4 because the party's bigger than it's supposed to be. They get done with their, guarding the mines, and they go back to they're going come eat breakfast and you go back to the room. Well, they come up to the top of the stairs, and at the top of the stairs is where they had that huge fight last session, right? Like 8 monks, the abbess, the priest, his 2 fighters, 2 minotaurs, blood everywhere, right? So they start freaking out, going, what's going on? So they start to investigate. The first guy goes invisible, and the other 2 go large. And they're investigating around. They check all the rooms around there, and they start going down, checking rooms as they go along. And they get to the lunchroom, and the invisible guy opens up the door. And when he opens up the door, the druid makes a perception roll. He's watching. He is watching, right? Yeah, I should give him an advantage. I don't remember. I just had him roll. And so he sees the door open, and he immediately casts entanglement. So there's entanglement. The guy at the door is entangled. He makes a roll. He missed it, so he's restrained. He's restrained. There's another Drugar, one of the large ones, who's within that area of effect, but he makes his roll, so he pulls out. The druid yells to wake everybody up. So all the party is getting up. 6 seconds enough to get up. If people are waking up, I have no issue with that. The question is, how deep of a sleeper are there? Because there's some people you need to really wake up, but we don't play it that way. Too detailed. So next round, the druid does Thorn Whip and pulls the invisible guy in. And like everybody attacks him. So he's dead in like 1 round. The other Drugar are back there. And I say, whoa, hey, who are you guys? Why are you here? What do you want? And then there's a discussion. They just think about where a guild, and they want a map, and they'll let the guys go. And these Drugar are just mercenary guards, so they're just going to pop chocks. They don't have a dog in this fight. They're just trying to figure out what's going on. So they get their buddy, they leave a map, and they go. Oh, they get money too, 120 gold. And the party finishes up their long rest, and then they've got to have the mines now. They're going to go down to the mines and find what's going on. So they go down to the mines, and then there's a guard room at the bottom of the stairwell to the mines, where there's 3 Orog, which I beefed up to 4, and an ogre. And they get down there, and the lead Orog, Jurl, it specifically says in the text, if strangers approach or whatever, he says, what is the pass sign? And then it goes into the text about how if they know the sign, or if they're able to BS their way by him or whatever, they continue on. What? Now, if they were disguised as monks or something, or they had some people disguised as monks, I could go with that. But they weren't. You got this half-orc, a half-drow warlock, you've got a tiefling paladin, and 2 elves coming down. Yeah, they know the signs, so they must be okay. Yeah, whatever. So that made him kind of suspicious, and then they made some comments, and I'll get to that in a minute, that made him really suspicious. But he's playing along with what they're doing, because they said they were sent by the Drugar. The monster's been under attack by the air cultists. They need to go and let the Great Prophet know. Can you lead us to the temple? They're, sure, yeah. He sends Drool, the ogre, to go take him to the entrance to the temple. And then they go and do that. Just as they're getting ready to do that, though, the paladin thinking, hey, we could split the Orog party up, which case we might be able to take them, because we can take half now and half later. And says something about there still might be air cultists up there. And the warlock person goes, Jeffrey and Shavra are still up there, because they left Jeffrey and Shavra upstairs because they want to keep Shavra safe. So I want to get her to Waterdeep and take care of the paladin's quest thing. So there's a bunch of laughing going on. And so they just I internalized that, okay, Charles kind of watched what's going on. So these guys are gone. He is going to go upstairs, find what's going on. And then he's going to follow these guys. That's his plan. Okay. Apologize, I got to check my notes real quick here. Sorry. Oh, there was kind of a funny thing when he said, what's the passcode? What's the pass sign? What's the pass sign? The half-orc barbarian was actually in front, and he starts to fumble because the player doesn't know what to do. But the warlock is a smart player. She does minor illusion of the big sign flashing around and that kind of thing. And so, they make their saves there with that. Okay. Okay, at this point, the party, led by the ogre down to where the mines end and the temple, the stairs to the temple, the stairways to the temple begin. Kind of a transition period, clean up the map, all that kind of stuff. And I draw out the first section of the actual temple. Now, if you read the book, the module or the campaign is designed to be hit the outposts first. The Feathergale Spire, River Guard, Monastery, the Fire Guys. I think is the order that's kind of designed as based on difficulty. Then, and you got side quests to help beef up your levels as well, right? Then you start going to the temples. So I know if they go down the temples, they're going to get their butt kicked, which I'm fine with, because they go in, get your face spanked, get back to town. No problem with that. Okay, so go down the temple and they come. And this is where they come to the. There's this huge cavern, right? And there's a stone walkway that connects where you are with where the rest of the temple is. So they kind of walk out. A couple of them walk out onto the walkway, and they send Aloysius down to check out the bottom, see what's down there, and tell them there's a bunch of bones down there. A bunch of them are dwarves. Most of them are wearing, old rusty armor. Excuse me, that kind of thing. Well, there are also 3 gargoyles up here, up top. So I had them swoop down and do the whole knockback attack, right? They swooped down and they rolled well, but the players rolled better, so they missed. So those guys scoot across. The others scoot well, but they get to the end. There's still 3 of them still on the bridge. So all 3 of the gargoyles go swooping down, try to do knockback them, but they rolled bad, so they all missed. The party then moves into the entryway of the temple. And it's, an entryway with a couple of arrow slits. And then south of the entryway, or on the south side, back west side, are these huge stone double doors, one of which is a jar hanging off the bottom hinge, and the other one's flat, broken on the ground. As soon as they enter the entryway, gargoyles attack from the back. They're not flying, they're on the ground. So they start doing an attack because these guys got past them, and that's their job is to be, gatekeepers. So they attack rather than attacking, and the warlock casts enthrallment, I think it's called, so that the only person that the gargoyles, if they missed their saving throw, gargoyles can see is her. and they're attracted to her. One guy made a saving throw, the other two did not. So the other two, I'm going to take off in a minute. In fact, I'll pause here. Hey folks, I'm back. Obviously you couldn't tell in time difference, but it's been over an hour. I had to go pick up my son from a church activity, and they ended up bringing pizza for everybody, so it took longer than I was expecting. And so I don't actually remember exactly where I stopped off. I know it had to do with the entryway room, and I want to say I got to the part where the warlock did her thing, but just in case I didn't, they all got to the entry room, and the gargoyles attacked from the rear. I know I said that much. The warlock went forward, and she did enthrallment. I don't remember if it's a spell or a warlock ability, but she did enthrallment. One of the gargoyles made a saving throw, the other two did not. So the two that did not couldn't see anybody but her, and were drawn to her, so they pushed their way through all the other bodies and went to engage her. Everybody got opportunity attacks on them, and then they attacked the warlock. The warlock cast mirror image, and everybody pretty much focused on the one gargoyle that made a saving throw, because most of them were there anyway. The rogue came off to the side so we could have a clear shot at anybody. The druid bear-shaped, and they all attacked. The druid actually shifted around to the back so they could do a flanking thing. And so they're all focusing on gargoyle number one. And the warlock is just fighting off with gargoyle 2 and 3 until they get gargoyle 1 down. Once they get gargoyle 1 down, everybody switches and jumps on gargoyle, actually number 3, and are attacking it. And after gargoyle 3 goes down, they start attacking gargoyle 2. On the process of all this, the gargoyles managed to hit the warlock a number of times and got all three of her images. Somewhere along this line, because there's a number of rounds of things going on, there were 2 groups of guards that in a normal situation would be at those arrow slits, right? But because they know the gargoyles are out there, they're not really paying that much attention. One group is paying much more attention than the other group. So the group that's kind of paying attention hears stuff going on, so they go up to investigate, checking through the airport, see guys fighting. In fact, the rogue is standing right in front of us. So they do crossbow bolts out of that arrow slot. The next round, the group on the other side, which is not paying as much attention, comes up, crossbows through the arrow slot. Now, yeah, never mind. So crossbows shoot the rogue in the back, so he takes off towards the chasm. The bear backs up towards the chasm, so they're out of the way so they can't get shot at. The rest of the party's around the gargoyles in that area, and so there's angle for them to get shot at. They could get either the paladin or the barbarian half-orc, but he's huge. He's a half-orc barbarian, so they're focusing fire on him. He gets hit a few times, not too many. He was a little upset about that because there is an angle there where he may have gotten some half coverage, which added 2 to his saving throw, but they've got the flanking thing going, so they had advantage. I didn't worry too much about it. Besides, he's a barbarian taking half damage anyway. So fighting goes on. They finally get both of those gargoyles down. A couple last shots before everybody pulls into the main hall room, which had the big stone doors, one off on its kilter just with one hinge, the other one flat down the ground, all broken apart. Huge hall, all broken apart. Some of the ceiling has broken away on one side, so there's a bunch of rubble over here. There's actually a little campfire and some bedrolls in one corner. There's 3 pillars and a hallway going off to essentially the north and one to the east. So the warlock says that she and Aloysius are going to go check out the camp in the corner, and the paladin goes to check out the hallway goes in north. And he's got dark vision, so he can see the full length and or improved dark vision or something. So you can see the whole length. It goes, and then there's a room at the end. Then the warlock is thinking, we're out of combat now, so we're at 1 minute rounds. We've got plenty of time to do all kinds of stuff. And he sends Aloysius off and go, wait. Aloysius is checking out the thing and he goes, well, what time is it? I've had you mark out. You went 9 hexes. I didn't say it, but I should have said, we're still in melee rounds because those 2 guys shooting have got parties with them and they're both coming around to ambush the party from both sides. And that's where we stopped. We stopped at that point. Go, it sounds like a good place to just stop. I could tell my player was getting a little irritated at that, and I think I talked about that in one of my videos about the whole timing transition, thinking one thing when I'm trying to think, when I'm thinking another. I just need to be better at talking that out. Okay. Let's Chasm, Gargoyle, Warlock, Imp and Warlock. Okay, and that's where we ended the session. The Imp and the Warlock are checking out the camp. Paladin is looking down the hallway, and I've got to figure out how far the 2 parties are able to get around to actually attacking from the hallway or from the door that's in this hall room, entry hall, great hall, whatever room as well. And one of those guys is one of these powerful earth magic. He's a magic user. He's got levels of spell casting, so I've got to figure these guys out because this is the first time I've run across one of these in actual play. Call him a stone melder, I think it is. But anyway, something is going to happen next time we play right off the bat. So we'll see how that goes. Meanwhile, you guys have a happy game.